Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Triple H regularly receives criticism for his booking, arguably just as much as he gets praise. It's only expected, considering the role he has. While understanding the game's point of view, a wrestling legend still feels that his booking is weak in two specific areas. On his Keepin' It 100 podcast, wrestling legend Konnan discussed the weak booking of the WWE Tag Team division. Konnan likened Triple H's situation to his own in Mexico, where he is a booker. He stated that while no booker can push everyone at the same time, he still believes that the game's booking of the tag team and women's divisions has left much to be desired. I was going to say, maybe it's hard to. I always say in Mexico, I can't push everybody at the same time, right? He's got priorities, and the tag team are at the bottom, but he should know better because he was a part of DX, which had a lot of good tag team matches. But I think the tag teams aren't being booked well and most of the women aren't either. 122-149. A wrestling veteran thinks Triple H could be caught in the Vince McMahon legal crossfire. WWE is trying to move on from the Vince McMahon scandal that rocked the company nearly a year ago. There have been many questions surrounding not only others who potentially participated, but mainly those who were aware of the situation and said nothing about it. On the Café de Renee podcast, wrestling veteran Ben Heyman speculated that Triple H could get caught in the crossfire of the Vince McMahon legal mess. How dirty is this McMahon stuff gonna get? Because that could definitely splatter on Triple H and Steph where they have to step down, he said. From 1 hour 29 minutes and 22 seconds to 1 hour 29 minutes and 28 seconds. Wrestling fans will certainly be hoping that nothing like this actually happens. The game is far too valuable an asset to WWE right now and has led to what many consider a renaissance era. Triple H's transition into the creative lead of WWE has been met with applause, skepticism, and critique from fans and industry veterans alike. While many have praised his vision and storytelling prowess, some believe there are glaring weaknesses in his booking style. Wrestling legend Jim Cornette, never one to mince words, recently shared his perspective on the two weakest parts of Triple H's booking during an episode of his podcast, leaving the wrestling world buzzing. Cornette's first critique revolved around Triple H's handling of WWE's mid-card division. While titles like the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship have seen flashes of brilliance, Cornette argued that there's a lack of consistent focus on building credible contenders. Triple H is great at booking top guys and big stories, Cornette began. But when it comes to the mid-card, it's a mess. The titles themselves have never felt more important, but the challengers? They're either cold as ice or thrown together last minute. He should know better than to leave such a crucial part of the card floundering. Cornette pointed to the Intercontinental Champion, Gunther, as a prime example. While Gunther's historic reign has brought prestige back to the title, Cornette argued that the Austrian juggernaut often lacked compelling opponents. Gunther is a once-in-a-lifetime talent, but you've got to give him challengers that people believe in. Instead, we get guys like Matt Riddle or Ricochet, who are incredible workers but are booked to look like they've got no chance. Where's the drama? Where's the build-up? Cornette proposed that Triple H should take a page from the old NWA days, where mid-card feuds were treated with the same level of care as the main event. Look at someone like Arn Anderson or Tully Blanchard back in the day, Cornette said. They weren't just stepping stones, they were legitimate threats. That's what the mid-card needs, characters and stories that matter, not just filler. Cornette's second critique was aimed at the women's division, which has seen both highs and lows under Triple H's leadership. Hunter has always been a big advocate for women's wrestling, and I respect that, Cornette admitted. But his booking for the women's division? It's all over the place. He should know better than to treat it like an afterthought half the time. Cornette highlighted the contrast between the treatment of the top stars like Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch and the rest of the division. Rhea Ripley is booked like a superstar, and rightly so, Cornette said. But what about everyone else? Look at someone like Candice LeRae or Piper Niven. These are incredibly talented women who are stuck in meaningless matches or not featured at all. If you're not in the title picture, you're invisible. Cornette also took issue with the lack of long-term storytelling in the women's division, particularly in how challengers are built for championship matches. It's like they draw names out of a hat, Cornette joked. One week, you've got Natalya challenging for the title with no build-up. The next, it's someone else who hasn't been on TV in months. How are fans supposed to care? Cornette compared this to the days of the Four Horsewomen era, where rivalries like Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks or Bayley versus Becky Lynch were given ample time to develop. Those stories made the division must-see TV, Cornette said. Triple H needs to get back to that. Give us rivalries we can sink our teeth into, not just random matches with no stakes. Another point Cornette touched on was Triple H's reliance on nostalgia, which he believed was both a strength and a weakness. I get it. Hunter loves bringing back legends and giving fans those feel-good moments, Cornette said. But there's a fine line between celebrating the past and living in it. Cornette pointed to the return of stars like Edge, Trish Stratus, and even Goldberg as examples of Triple H's tendency to lean on established names rather than fully committing to building new stars. Edge and Trish are incredible, but how much time and energy are we spending on them compared to someone like LA Knight or Braun Breaker? Cornette questioned. You've got to look to the future, not just rely on the past. Cornette warned that this approach could backfire in the long run, as WWE risks alienating younger fans who are looking for fresh faces and compelling new stories. While Cornette's critique was sharp, he also offered constructive suggestions for how Triple H could improve his booking. 1. Develop the midcard. Pick 3 or 4 guys and give them meaningful programs, Cornette advised. Let them build their characters and connect with the audience. The midcard should be a proving ground, not a dumping ground. 2. Focus on the women's division. Start treating the women like they matter outside of the title picture, Cornette said. Create storylines that don't revolve around championships. Give them personal feuds, alliances, and stakes. 3. Limit the nostalgia. Use legends sparingly and strategically, Cornette suggested. They should elevate the current roster, not overshadow them. 4. Consistency in storytelling. The key to great booking is consistency, Cornette emphasized. Fans need to feel like they can invest in these characters and stories for the long haul. Cornette's comments sparked a lively debate among fans. Some agreed with his assessment, arguing that Triple H's booking has room for improvement despite his successes. Cornette's right about the midcard, one fan tweeted. Gunther's reign is amazing, but where's the competition? He needs rivals who feel like a real threat. Others defended Triple H, pointing out that he inherited a roster and system that had been heavily influenced by Vince McMahon's booking style. Hunter's done more for WWE in a year than Vince did in the last decade, another fan wrote. Give him time to fix the midcard and the women's division. Rome wasn't built in a day. While Triple H has undoubtedly brought new energy and direction to WWE, there's no denying that certain aspects of his booking could use refinement. Whether it's revitalizing the midcard, addressing the inconsistencies in the women's division, or striking a better balance between nostalgia and innovation, the game faces challenges that require both experience and adaptability. As Cornette aptly put it, he should know better. And perhaps, in time, Triple H will prove that he does.